Hey guys, what's up? It's AB Trades, and sorry I'm doing the Sunday Stock Talk late, but anyways, it is coming out, our weekly Sunday Stock Talk. It gives you an edge into the trading week. If you like this content, please like and comment so I know that you're liking the content, and please subscribe and turn on those alerts so you can get alerted for every video I send out, whether it's a Sunday Stock Talk or just how to day trade options better and more proficiently. Again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Let's get into it. So I have not looked at the market news yet for Forex Market Watch or the Forex News. That shows you the USD, the CAD, and all the breakdowns in the news for the upcoming week. However, I do know that earnings season is upon us. So we're going to see a bunch of bank earnings with Netflix earnings around Thursday or Friday. I forget the exact date. I released the chart of all the earnings companies in the group chat linked below, so go ahead and join that. As always, we're going to look at SPY when we start. So SPY is the S&P 500 index for this. So let's look at the 2-day 1-year chart. So we are at a crucial resistance point here. Over the past week, we have hit this point 3 times and retraced down to the downside. Now, if we really want to see what's happening at the current moment, we're going to view the S&P futures market, and we dipped down and we gapped down, I would say around 10 points on open. You see this 2600 level is basically 2600 or bust. If we don't get above this 2600 level on ES or whatever it correlates to on SPY, then we're not going to make any more green marks. But if we can look here, we are still in the formation of an ascending uptrend triangle, which means we're butting up against a resistance while also holding an uptrend line. So we do have room to see it bounce and form here, as you can see, and break to the upside above 260 and start to make more room to the upside. Again, during aftermarket or the current market open for futures, if we don't see it get up above this level and we start to crash below this trend line, then SPY and ES are in a world of hurt for the put side. So again, let's look back at SPY and let's talk about what we are looking at for the week. Again, this is the level where we are looking at 259, 259.3 as our 2600 level on ES. So if you can look here, we are still holding this trend line. The trend line is valid as we are bouncing here. But again, guys, if we break below 256, we're going to be testing each of these supports as we break down. A support at 254, 252, 250, 246. As you can see here, just going all the way down. So again, we are primarily looking for puts, especially if bank financials do poorly on earnings. QQQ is about the same setup. We're setting up for that triangle. We're starting to see that we're starting to break below that. Seeing that Qs are starting to break below gives us an indication that SPY is also going to break lower. But again, QQQs will most likely follow SPY. AMD, important, right? And we've been trading this. We traded this 10% drop last week, but what are we looking at this week? As you can see, we do classify as a top 10% range play or continuation strategy. However, the continuation strategies don't work as well over the weekend. However, if during pre-market tomorrow we get up above this level at where we are at $20.35. If we can get above that level, there is no reason that we can't start to build a support above 20.35 and push to the upside of 21.40. I can definitely see that. However, we're usually going to trade in the direction of SPY. So SPY starts to drop and we're holding. If we can't break above this $20.35 resistance, then make sure we're going to crash back down to the downside of 1940, 1935. On GE, we're looking at the same thing. We're butting up against a whole dollar resistance of $9. During Friday, we could not get above 896, 895 level. So just make sure that this is going to be the same plays as SPY. If SPY can't break above 2600, well, SPY 259, then we will not see a break of all these stocks like AMD, GE, and Tesla, and more to come. But again, guys, if we can't, we're going to have a retracement back down to the $7 range eventually. Of course, not all in one day. As we're looking at Apple, you see here, we're starting to slowly bounce. We have this high here, we have a higher low here, and we're making our higher low here. So all the stocks are just setting up for that. It's looking more for a down play. So again, if we break below 150, 150 as a whole number, then we can definitely see Apple dip back to 142 and even lower to make that lower low, so that we can confirm that downtrend. Again, if it breaks up to the upside above 154.56, 154.50, we can see a retracement to test new highs. Netflix, if you can see here, we've been soaring. I think it's a little overextended in the market. We're definitely butting up against a 340 resistance, which if you can look in the time zone, that's pretty huge, right? This is where resistance of it fell during earnings last time, so this is going to be a crucial support. Again, there's no reason that we can't keep soaring, but again, most market stocks like Netflix, Amazon, and all these big name stocks that are in SPY usually follow SPY. So SPY cannot get above that 260 level, or 259 level, then Netflix will probably start to sell off. If Netflix goes below 325, then we're going to start retracing back, testing these previous support levels. On Amazon, we're looking at the same thing. We're starting to see a rollover here. So a few things can happen. The same thing with SPY. If we start to dip, and then we have good news on earnings of other stuff, then we can see a short squeeze, because short sellers are going to start to fill in, and then we're going to push heavy to the upside. But again, we're starting to see a rollover in Amazon. Facebook, we're seeing the same thing. At the previous highs here, we're starting to see a rollover here, and we're probably going to retrace back down to 134 if we can get below 140.50. Next, we have Boeing. We're basically following the same thing as Netflix here. We're starting to break up to new highs, but again, the market will follow the market, right? So if these stocks will follow SPY. So if this starts to break down and SPY starts to break down, we can see Boeing start to break down as well. So again, we're pending reversals on most of these stocks like MU, BABA. Tesla is the only exception here. So Tesla usually does opposite of the market just because who knows or who cares why. But as you can see here, we have a strong resistance point at 380 and 360. We can definitely see movement back up to the upside. Why? We formed this little double bottom here, and we're starting to push up into these new resistance levels, forming almost an ascending triangle here. On Friday, we broke out. We can see pre-market start to test these here, and if we can build a support here, we can definitely test so it can launch up here up to 360 and later 380. That is what we're looking for on Tesla, long-term play of an ascending uptrend triangle. Ford, nothing much, just looking for a rollover. Nvidia, same thing. GS is what I'm adding to the list for this week because of all the bank financials. Goldman Sachs will definitely be impacted by that. As you can see here, we're starting to trend within a tight range. That's meaning that we're already knowing we're going to be set up for something. So based off the news, the banks of the earnings statements, if we break above 178, we're going to be looking for calls. If we break below 172, we're going to be trading puts back down to 156. Also, we have other stocks mentioned in the group chat like Roku. So let's take a look at that. Roku has been the top plays here, which is followed by a 10% continuation play, a gap into resistance, just plays that we know how to play. But again, I don't know how it will play out because we are looking at day 4 after the previous sell-off and the previous runoffs. So we don't know what exactly will happen. Just keep a close eye on these previous supports here at $37.88 and $45 mark. That will be an indication for a move closer to the upside or the downside. Let's see, what else do we have in the chat? If we can see here, we have, I just want to make sure I cover everything, HTZZ, BC. So basically what it looks like we're covering is BAC, which is the banks, right? Because this is the bank earnings. So we have this, and we're setting up. Let's look at a long-term time frame here. It looks like we're butting up into resistance here. I would just be careful here at the $26 level. If we can get above it, cool. If we can't, we're going to get rejected and push back down further. We can look at C for Citigroup. It's also a bank. It looks like we're starting to reverse here. But again, from previous things, we have resistance that we're butting up against into, and we just want to make sure that this is a strong point when it comes to our earnings. We already covered Bank of America, we covered Roku. So that's basically, HTZ. The problem with HTZ here is it may be a good horizontal pattern, but when we look at the options, or at least last time I checked, there's no weekly options, so that means it won't be as liquid. And if we look at these contracts, we're only trading about 200 for this one strike price, which is super low, so I would not trade options on HTZ. I would rather trade the actual shares. Alright guys, thank you for tuning into the Sunday Dollar Talk. I hope you learned something from it, and stay green this week.